Hello guys, welcome to another video by the Daywalker Reporter called My Rambles, which is a series and section of videos where I just talk about just random ideas and topics involving anime and media. Shaman King is a series that is near and dear to my heart. I've read it 4 or 5 times. It's probably my favorite shonen next to Hunter x Hunter that I've ever read. Maybe my favorite shonen. I don't know. Whenever I reread Hunter x Hunter, it's my number one. But whenever I read this, it's my number one. King Shaman King is basically a series about people called shamans. For those of you who don't know, they're just people who interact with the supernatural, the spirit world, stuff like that. Shaman King has some of my favorite personalities I've ever seen in a shonen series, whether it be our main character Yo, Hannah, or Chocolove, which a lot of people have criticisms of, but he's still an amazing character, or Horo Horo, freaking Taio Rin, Lyzerg, Ryu Nosuke, my boy Ryu Nosuke, he's so dope. Or its main villain, Hayo. Okay, within this video, it's going to contain a lot of spoilers of me talking about how the series turns out, how the series might end. So if you don't want to be spoiled to anything that happens in the series, probably don't either skip to near the end of this video or yeah, but Shaman King is a series that explores the idea of failure better than any other shonen I have ever read. And it does it in such a way to where the characters have to constantly adapt to how the world is. And it works perfectly. A microcosm of this concept is our main character, Yo. Yo is like water. He's like the wind. He flows through the conflicts of life and doesn't let things bother him because his goal is different than every other shonen protagonist that I've ever ran into. His goal isn't to be the greatest fighter in the world. His goal isn't to be the most important person in society. His goal is simply to live an easy life where he doesn't have to work. He's a lazy person. And lazy characters are probably some of my favorite characters. My favorite character from Naruto next to Itachi is Shikamaru, for example, because they can find satisfaction in a variety of different ways. They don't just find satisfaction from fighting and being the best at something. They can find satisfaction in just looking at a river, just being able to walk inside of nature. They can find a lot of beauty in just these really simple things that aren't that big of a deal. Yo is a character that I feel like Hiroyuki Take put a lot of thought into because a lot of his development for his character happened way before the series even started, which I thought was a very interesting move. And he turned Yo into an almost Goku Luffy-esque flat character throughout the series. Because Yo, if anybody ever watches or reads Shaman King, mostly read because don't watch the anime. The anime is terrible. But if anybody ever reads Shaman King, you come to realize that Yo doesn't really develop all that much. He doesn't really change throughout the series, but his personality is so invigorating to watch. There's so much to his personality that you just get drawn into what his character is and learning more about him and how he processes things like morality and stuff like that. And just seeing the type of character like he is juxtaposed to the main antagonist of the series, Hayo, is just a really interesting dynamic that I don't really see all that often in shonen or maybe even in manga in general. Um, the number one thing I enjoy about this series above any other shonen, and I've said this before, is its exploration of failure and how the characters are constantly trying to overcome their failures and their missteps. And you have a character like Yo who regardless doesn't ever let his failures overwhelm him to the point where he can't continue to move forward. He is constantly thinking of alternatives. even when dealing with the ending of the series. And this is a major spoiler. This is a major, major spoiler. Our main characters in Shaman King do not win. They don't win the final battle to become Shaman King. In the story, there's a battle to figure out who will decide the fate of the entire world because the Shaman King is the person who once they're like the shaman for the great spirit or god or whatever, and once they have gained the ability to be the shaman for the creator, then they're able to change the world to be however they want. And in Shaman King, our main characters do not win at all. They don't make it to the finish line and defeat the villain. They don't be None of our main characters become Shaman King. And what I love about that is that it creates a situation where our main characters are free from this universal goal, and it's more so just about them learning to pick up the pieces from where they left off and trying to do better and trying to create an alternative for the situation. And they do, and it's one of my favorite endings in any manga, right? There are a lot of people, and another thing that makes it so good is its execution of the whole resurrection trope. Now, there are a lot of people who have an issue with this trope. I, for one, have no universal problem with it. It's all about how it's executed, you know. In Shaman King, the afterlife is has always been a thing that existed, and it's in this story. It's used as a means for character development, which I think is mind blowing. I feel like it's not unique to this series in its predecessors like Yu Yu Hakusho and Dragon Ball. That was the case in a current running series like um, Seven Deadly Sins. It's definitely the case where the whole resurrection trope is used to the benefit of a story, and there are a lot of examples to where it's done very poorly. But in Shaman King, hell is, or when you die, you go to a place called hell. It's more so a it's more so something that you created as a human when you were living. It's more so an amalgamation of all your regrets and fears and mishaps that you had when you were alive. And hell is more so like a reformation place where you go and you challenge your spirit to be a better person. And people who get lost there are the people who can't overcome their guilt, can't overcome their sadness or their hatred towards themselves. And that is something that I really enjoy about the series. So, yeah, Shaman King is amazing. Shaman King is probably my second favorite shonen of all time. Has like my favorite shonen protagonist ever. Yo is easily my favorite shonen protagonist. He's a flat character, but I don't care. His character has so much personality. The level of depth that goes into his writing is just beyond belief. But yeah, Shaman King. Can't go anywhere without it.